the fact that you get from traditional IDP to multimodal LLMs, and there's a difference of 40 percentiles. That's huge. What that's going to mean with larger documents, of course, it's not going to stay at 100%, but it's going to be a lot better than how the traditional machine learning plus OCR based solutions have been. So it seems. So if you are doing intelligent document processing in your company and you haven't tried these multimodal LLMs with your data, now would be a great time to do that. You are going to see a big difference.
Welcome to the Agent Workforce podcast. This is episode number 20. My name is Kristiina and I lead marketing at Digital Workforce, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Niko Lehtonen, AI solution architect at Digital Workforce. In today's episode, we'll talk about browsers, AI agent builders, DWF Hack Day, among other topics. Niko, great to see you. It's been a few weeks. What have you been up to lately?
Yeah, indeed it has been covered deep in customer-related work, so all good on that side. But it's good to be able to do this now as well.
Yeah, I know you've been building some agents among other things, so maybe you can brief us a little bit on that one. But let's kick off with browser updates. So OpenAI launched its browser, long-awaited browser, I guess, on October 21st. It's called Atlas. It's currently available only for Mac operating system. They will, of course, try to expand that to other operating systems and devices. But there's been a lot of controversy, I guess, around that. There are some major security threats related to these agentic browsers. OpenAI's Atlas is not the first agentic browser, but how it tries to separate itself from Chrome, which is the market leader in browsers, has 60 to 70% of market dominance as of today. So it allows you to use your ChatGPT sidebar to the browser. It brings in the memory if you liked it to do so, and it has agentic features. So if you've used OpenAI's agent mode previously, it's sort of inbuilt in this browser where you can enable the use of agentic features. And like I said, you can bring in your all memories or all previous browser settings from the browsers you have used, but be very, very cautious if you experiment with this. So don't use it for any sensitive tasks. Don't use it for any services which require login would be my piece of advice at this point. But Niko, any comments from the field or what you read, what you've heard regarding Atlas?
Yeah. I mean, I gave it a go. My ChatGPT subscription tier is not high enough for me to use all the features. So for me, it wasn't very useful. The things I tried to do with it failed. But again, like I said, there's more features that are just behind higher tiers of usage. And I think that's going to be a problem. I don't know how long it's going to stay this way, but if you want to break into the browser market and you want to get people using it, then maybe don't gatekeep the features that set you apart from the others behind some more expensive tiers, because they're not going to get the reach with this. Maybe they're just testing it out. Like you said, it's only for Mac OS right now and so on. But it'll be interesting to see what happens 6 months later. What's this going to look like? Is there going to be another browser coming on? Things move fast, so it'll be interesting to see how this evolves.
Indeed. And while we keep to browsers and search, Google AI mode is finally available also now in Finland. So that has been long in use in the US and in other countries outside of European Union, but now it also launched in Finland as of October, was it the 8th, or I need to check the date, but you can pretty much enable that on any Google search. So that's the AI mode. And have you trialed that? I want to get your thoughts on it before I give mine. So what are your initial impressions? Have you used it?
Yeah, I've played around with a bit. It's not something I tend to do, but it is, based on my testing, I can see the value, definitely. It does give you more precise ways of finding things not in the way that a deep research would, which for one takes a lot of time. This one gets you the answers instantly because it's using the indexed content, but it's still the most up-to-date content. So it's like, finally, I would say that this is an improvement on how search engines work. I don't think AI overview has been an improvement, really, but this one actually seems like one. So I expect this to become more commonplace. Now it's only on google.com, but I'm guessing it'll become more built into browsers as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the Gemini model behind. I noticed that this has brought me back to Google more. So I had switched my searches more to Gen AI platforms. But now I do agree with you that AI overviews were not that accurate in many cases. You could see a lot of like mistakes, errors there. But with the AI mode, I find it quite useful. And I noticed that I'm using more Google now. So we'll see definitely what will happen. It has the dominance in searches and like said in also the browser market what comes to Chrome. So there will definitely be more updates coming. But what I feel that is evident that every single marketeer and company who has a website, they must prepare themselves for the agents visiting their website as of today. So all the future updates you do to your website, take this into consideration because it's evident that more and more traffic will come from AI agents and not just humans. It could be like autonomous browsing, if that's like Atlas agent or Perplexity comment agents or any type of like commerce AI agents or B2B AI agents. It's important to make your site accessible to both human users and AI. So start planning for that right now. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and that is around Agent Builder. And it seems that every company is popping up like their own agent builders. And today we'll talk about OpenAI's Agent Builder that was launched already on the 6th of October, around the time when we recorded our last session, and we had the OpenAI Dev Day, and that was one of the updates that we were expecting from the company. And we now have a few weeks of time experimenting, trialing with that. I thought let's spend some time with Agent Builder within OpenAI and your thoughts on it and what are the first impressions. And for those who can see this recording, there's my screen, and this is, you can find the Agent Builder in platform.openai.com, and there you can go and navigate to, there's a section called Agent Builder, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But let's start with that, and while I opening up, any comments on Agent Builder, Niko, at this point?
Yeah. It's quite easy to use UI. Having said that, I still managed to create a flow that fails on the first step 2 times out of 3. No reason why that would happen. So I'm guessing the Agent Builder isn't really perfect yet. But even if it's even in its current state, what it does do, it helps you, of course, visualize the type of workflow you want to have. You know, if you're going to have multiple agents within the workflow, what's the role of the user there, what kind of mechanical decisions are done during that workflow, what kind of more holistic decisions are done there. And most importantly, you can export the whole thing as code, at which point you can modify the details. You can't modify the details through this UI. And you cannot modify the code through this UI. You have to copy it and make your own project with the OpenAI SDK, the software development kit, for that to be possible. I'm guessing that part is going to become a bit more fluent and a bit more dynamic, like with Microsoft's Power Automate, going back in time here. But that one allows you to see the code for all the pieces you've built, and you can modify that code there. With this one, you cannot. Whatever the reason, I don't know, and maybe this will be updated, but right now, this is not an exception by any means, the Agent Builder, but a lot of the tools out there do keep some of the customization options hidden from low code, no code users. I understand why that is. It's hard to create the complexity as well and overload the user with all the sort of options you can do. But it also means that if you want to build more complex solutions where details matter more, then you need to do it with code. And right now, for the past months and so on, it's really seemed like AI solutions take process automation more towards pro code methodology than it has before. Is it going to stay that way? Who knows? But currently, if you want to do it right, you're going to do it with code and not through these UIs. For personal productivity, you can do things with these, absolutely. But like I said, even the simple one I did fails 2 times out of 3 just to launch, which makes, there's no reason that I would have been the problem there. It's just this system. Yeah.
Yeah. So this system features some drag and drop nodes for constructing these conversational AI agents, and it also has some pre-built ones that you can trial with and see how these have been built. But there is one section where I want us to pay some attention, and that's called guardrails. And maybe we could go through these guardrails, because at least if we start a workflow here, just a second, I'll just drop in the guardrail piece here. So I will open this up, and this is something that at least in my networks, people have praised that this is a pretty good functionality that's built into the agent builder, whereas previously you have to define this differently. So maybe I thought that we could go through these guardrails super quickly, what these are, and because these are things that you need to take into consideration when building AI agents differently as well. So maybe we'll just quickly go through some of the stuff that's within here and explain. Maybe I'll ask you to explain briefly what is meant by these, and maybe we could start with the PII, which is personally identifiable information. And that's, I'm showing a pop-up here that has detects sensitive personal data, blocks the request before it reaches the model, and you can select all entries, or there are all bunch of different boxes, person name, number, medical license number, nationality, religion, so forth. So what are your...
Yeah, what's interesting for me here is that there are details from some countries' PII. For instance, if you scroll all the way down, there's the Finnish personal identity code. But for instance, there's not one for the Swedish ones. So this is definitely a work in progress still. But as mentioned, it does enable you to create a solution that automatically can filter out pieces of data that maybe shouldn't go there in the first place. Of course, if you're building something where that information needs to be there, you just untick that box. But otherwise, I would say that you're going to want to keep all the boxes ticked for your type of data, unless it really needs to be processed here. Similarly, there's the moderation part, which is about the content type itself. I haven't tested this, so I don't know how this does with if you have multiple languages within your inputs. Is it going to do well in recognizing that this word in this language is absolutely fine, but if this were another language, this would not be a good word to use? So how strict it is with that, I'm not sure. And then we have the jailbreak one, which is where you sort of have the sensitivity into how, I guess, paranoid it is about jailbreak attempts. Again, haven't played around with this. Could try with a couple of models just to see how well it does. And then it's somewhat similar with the hallucination bit again. So here you can give a source file, some knowledge for the model for the agent to compare against whether it's hallucinating or whether it is giving the right piece of information. I'm not sure about this particular feature, but let's see. Depends a lot on the use case, I'm sure. And then the final thing, continuous error, is just, if one of your pieces has an error, what should the agent do? Should it just stop processing or should it try and continue? That's pretty simple. So if it notices a jailbreak attempt, does it break or should it try and do something but disregard the type of input? Maybe the rest of the steps still matter even if the input is not usable and so on.
Yeah. Well, remains to be seen about 3 weeks in with the OpenAI Agent Builder. How useful will that be, and what are the use cases? And we'll get back to on that one later on. But let's move on to, I wanted to bring up another Andrej Karpathy show that I watched recently. He's one of the most valued computer scientists in the world, I guess, formerly at Tesla and OpenAI. I always check his videos and interviews when he's in different shows. And now he was in Dwarkesh podcast. It's a really, really popular podcast. You could watch that on YouTube and across some podcast platforms as well. And I think it's a pretty long interview. I think it's around 2.5 hours. It gets quite technical as well, but it's sort of comforting if I bring up a few key takeaways from my side, and maybe comforting to hear Karpathy say that it will be a decade of agents and not the year of agents, that there are still a lot of things that need to be resolved, like a full agency and fully automated society and companies out there. So it's going to be a decade. We need to still solve memory and feedback and persistence and things like that. And what he also reminds is that there will be the march of the nines, as he calls it, and pushing from 90% to 99.999 reliability is what will turn all these demos into super dependable systems out there, fully operational. It will, according to Karpathy, take the next decade to where the real engineering will happen. But obviously, he acknowledges how useful these tools are for many tasks already today. And also, he's talking about AGI, which seems to like artificial general intelligence, now often nowadays referred to super intelligence, which is even the higher form of the intelligence. And some labs say that it might come this year, next year, not maybe this year, but next year, in the next few years. And the way Andrej Karpathy defines that is it's a system you could go to that can do any economically valuable task at a human performance level or better. And the definition is often narrowed down to include digital knowledge work only. But according to him, it will take some time still while we are there. But it's he's also working on his own educational company, Project Eureka. And I'm at least looking forward to some of the courses they will launch in the future to prep us all for the future that's coming up. Have you checked this interview, Niko?
I've seen parts of it. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I think there's a few sound bites that have made it into various articles during the past weeks. For instance, regarding the types of agents that many are building and so on. And indeed, the fact that AGI is further than some are saying and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, then I know we had this hack day internally at Digital Workforce. Anything you want to share from that event, Niko? What did you do there?
The hack day is a sort of internal thing we do within the agent team and with some few select people depending on the topic. And for me, in this case, we were just trying to create agentic solutions just as a prototype and just to test around what type of multimodal large language models, for instance, are good at reading text that's hard to decipher. So like, let's say you have a document that's been scanned 10 times over, the quality goes down a lot. So just to sort of do some testing around traditional intelligent document processing and then doing it with multimodal LLMs. Where's the difference? And like Microsoft's computer vision got to like 60% accuracy. OpenAI's GPT-4o got to 100%. We had a test set of 20 documents just as a test, but and they were not big documents. They're very, very small, not much text in them. But the fact that you get from traditional IDP to multimodal LLMs, and there's a difference of 40 percentiles. That's huge. What that's going to mean with larger documents, of course, it's not going to stay at 100%, but it's going to be a lot better than how the traditional machine learning plus OCR based solutions have been. So it seems. So if you are doing intelligent document processing in your company and you haven't tried these multimodal LLMs with your data, now would be a great time to do that. You are going to see a big difference. And for instance, one way to do it is that if you have low confidence values after it's gone through your original system, then you could, as a exception case, feed it to the multimodal LLM. So you don't have to spam the LLM with everything you got, but just the exception ones and then see what comes out. Yeah. And what this also gave me and the team a good way to test different tools with which we built these. So someone was using Anthropic's Claude Code. I was using Cursor with the newest Claude 4.5 Sonnet model. Others were just using the Azure SDK and building it themselves from the ground up. And we had a certain time frame in which to get this done, complete with a UI that you actually can just drop the document in and it'll give you the outcome. And I even made it so that it tests it on multiple LLMs, so you can compare the results with the original results easily in one go. Not all of us made it to the end because the time frame was quite tight. But
you
for
did,
me,
of course, didn't you?
Yeah, I got there, of course.
Sure.
I wouldn't be talking about this example if I didn't. But point being that the way the Claude 4.5 Sonnet works, and especially works with Cursor now, it's taken it to a whole other level. There's much less needing to do prompts over and over to get to the right results. The accuracy with which it gets to a working outcome on the first try is much, much higher now. Sure, I'm better at prompting it than I was 6 months ago and so on, but I really haven't done that special prompts with it. I've just asked it to do even very lengthy things and given it very lengthy instructions, and it still does it very, very well. So if I was waxing lyrical about Cursor 6 months ago, I can now say that it is so much better now. And I haven't compared it. I haven't used Claude Code myself. I haven't used OpenAI's Codex myself. I don't know what the differences are. But with the way Cursor is now working, I have no need to try other tools either. I'm getting to the results I need to get so quickly and efficiently in many ways that I'm very satisfied with how it's going right now.
Yeah, and the time savings you estimated that you had were quite impressive.
Yeah. I mean, something that, let's say before agentic coding, it would have been months. And then 6 months ago, it would have been, I guess I could say a couple of weeks. Now, I would say it's going to be less than that. So I could do things that used to take with Cursor, even with Cursor, a couple of weeks. Now it would take 5 days.
Yeah.
So it's that efficiency boost on top of what it used to be is really great with this new model. And 4.5 Sonnet is much cheaper than 4.0 Sonnet as well. So even then, I don't have to feel bad by feeding it a lot of data and then coming up with the outcomes. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's no going back to the old way of working. It would be awful to lose these tools in a way and would make you feel so much more
Yeah,
inefficient.
I would go farming at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. When you get used to these tools. Okay, good stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Niko. I also wanted to share something from the marketing front. Something I noticed that was launched 2 days ago. Google introduced Pomelli. That's their AI tool for like small and medium-sized businesses. This is in the Google AI Labs. You can easily generate scalable on-brand social media campaigns. So I did, of course, try this and logged in. And what you do first is that you said that you practically give an URL there. It picks up from the URL. I'm sharing my screen. So this is a view of the Google Pomelli. So you just give a URL address and it picks up like the visual side of the brand, the tone of voice that the brand is using, and all sorts of definitions that you can always go and change. And you can add like images, and it picks all the images used on the website front. And then you can just define what you want to do, what kind of campaign you want to build. And then, let's say that I want to create awareness campaign for LinkedIn, and then just generate ideas. You hit the generate ideas button and it will just create you some campaign ideas. with the copy text, with the visual images, it's sort of a mock-up tool for ads. But these type of tools, of course, there are paid tools for this use case as well. I've only checked for like social media, like for Instagram and LinkedIn, but I know there are paid tools that you can like trial with, I don't know, Times Square type of ads in the billboards and things like that. And it just picks up the copy text, and we can go on with one of these, and then it'll show you some visual mock-ups of the ads as well. So pretty impressive. And in working in marketing and advertising, it's maybe a tool that you may want to check out yourself. Anything else you want to share, Niko, in today's episode before we wrap up?
Not really. I think this is all I have for now. And I'm sure as soon as we talk again, there's going to be a million new things that have appeared on the market and on the tools we're already using.
Yeah. We talked about Waymo briefly when I shared my experience in Atlanta, and I tried Waymo, the self-driving car, and now it's been announced that Waymo will launch autonomous ride-hailing services in London in next year. So more of us will get a chance to try that in London next year. This was launched by Reuters in October the 15th. So looking forward to that. And maybe as a final note, I also want to, if there are any new listeners in the audience, so I'll remind you about our Understanding Agentic AI course. I just checked that over 5,200 people have taken the course already. So that is spreading very organically. We're not advertising that much. So you can find that on all the Gen AI searches and using traditional Google search as well. But that's agentacademy.ai and Understanding Agentic AI. I'm hoping that we'll have some time to do some more courses, Niko, during this H2. I know you've been super busy with customer work and building agents and also educating and doing like classroom trainings, but I really hope we'll have time to turn those into digital courses so that we could share awareness to more of us here in the digital work as well. But looking forward to that. But with that, I think that's wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much, Niko, and have a great rest of the week. And I hopefully will have a chance to catch up next week.
Thank you all. See ya.
Thanks, Niko. Thanks all. Bye.